Hello, everyone, and welcome to Window into the Seminary podcast. Today I'm here with Brother Camilo. Brother Camilo, we're really happy to have you here.
Thank you, Ricardo.
My name is Brother Ricardo, and I am from Venezuela. And today we'll be speaking about Dracula, a great book. Great book, Brother Camilo. He's really fascinated about this book.
Yeah, it's a great book.
But before we do so, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, okay. So I'm Brother Camilo, as Brother Ricardo said. I'm from Colombia. When I was a child, I had the inquietude, the vocational inquietude, and I wanted to be priest. But I didn't know why. Yeah? But because my vocational story is very simple, and because God is simple.
Mm-hmm.
So it's beautiful to know that. And also, my family is a pretty Catholic family. My mom, she was nun in a religious community, in Colombia. But my dad was working in the convent, so you know the other part of the story.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty happy to be here.
Great. What about, is there a specific moment, maybe an anecdote of when you realized that God was calling you, that this is the place where He wants you to be?
Yeah, I have one moment now in my mind when I was in the school and the teacher asked some of it's like a typical question like who want to be like a bomber. So I want to
A firefighter.
firefighter. I want to be, or some said I want to be firefighter. But in my heart I have the feeling that I want to be priest, but I don't know why. So I said, teacher, I want to be priest. And all the classroom was like, wow, amazing. So it was the first moment that I had this feeling in my heart.
Wow, it's really amazing to see that, because it shows that God, He puts a desire in our hearts.
Yeah.
And that is a desire to be close with Him. It's a desire to help others. And it's really relatable also to my story, because sometimes it's something that you're not completely sure that you think you want to do, but most people don't know what it is, right? Or don't expect that answer from a kid. But when they listen to it, they're like amazed. They're like, oh, wow, like this kid wants to give his life for Christ.
Yeah.
He wants to follow God, and he wants to be holy, right? So, wow, that's a really beautiful story, Brother Camilo. So now, talking about the book. So we know that the book is called Dracula, right? What can you tell us about the author?
Yeah, the author is Bram Stroker. He was born in Ireland. He was Catholic and he studied in the Trinity College in Dublin. Yeah, but he went to London, and he's famous in England. Because when he was child, he was pretty sick, and his mom told him stories of about Romanian folklore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so when he was writing the book, he remembered all these stories, and he wrote these stories in the book. So it's pretty nice too.
Right.
Yeah.
Like all these stories that he received when he was a child, and then when he becomes older, he writes, it's part of his imagination. So he's able to create a piece of literature from all this that he received.
Yeah.
And also, if I'm not mistaken, isn't that the same college that John Keats went to, Trinity College?
Yeah, he went in Trinity College, and so for example, Mary Shelley, John Keats, they were in the same moment in literature.
Yes.
So it's like romanticism, and they were connected with the stories.
Right. And Romanticism is such an interesting movement, right?
Yeah.
Because it looks for beauty, it looks on the subjectivity of the person, it looks to the beauty also of nature, like that encounter of nature and man, and how that can enrich us in a personal way, right? So all these things have to do with Romanticism. So now talking a little bit about the book. So what is it about?
So, as you know, Dracula, this is the main character in the book. He is living in his town. This is another part of Europe. And he wants to go to England. So he buy a house in London. But obviously, he want to go to London in a different way, because he wanted to use people, to control people in the city. So the book's about how some people in London discover Dracula in the city. And also, only Dracula is pretty famous in movies, series, and cartoons. But the original in the book is pretty different that the Dracula that we know in movies and cartoons. So, because you can see in the book, like Dracula has feelings, yeah, and he's not so bad in a sense. But yeah, so all the book is about how the people of London discover Dracula and combat him in the city.
Oh wow, that sounds really interesting. And as you were saying, maybe some of these characters that are really famous now, that we see them in comic books or we see them in TV shows, and we're so familiarized with them, but we don't know where they come from. And this is so interesting about studying literature and studying history. You get to see where it comes from and also to realize all the deep meaning that is behind it. Because it's not like it's portrayed in some cartoon movies that is just, like this guy, vampire man that's trying to eat people. I mean, there's a deeper meaning, right? And if I'm not mistaken, also in this book, there's a specific way to fight against this vampire. What is it?
Yeah, so I wrote a paper here for my class. Yeah, you can see the action of evil in Dracula. So I think that Dracula can be the personification of the evil in the world. He came to another part of the world, and he's taking the blood of persons. So we can compare the blood with souls. And also, for example, when Dracula is going to enter to a house, he knocks the door and the windows. So if the person inside of the house open the door, Dracula enters to the house. But if the person inside of the house doesn't open the door, Dracula cannot enter to the house. But just one time needs Dracula for a person to open the door. If the person opens the door, Dracula can enter in the house always. Always, even if the doors and windows are closed. So it's important because I can compare the house, like, is my heart. So, and who has the keys of the heart? So we have the keys of our heart. So I have the key and I can open my heart to the evil or to the good. So it's pretty interesting to see that in the book.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So we can we have some defense against Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for example, we have the Holy Eucharist. Okay. So when Dracula is taking the blood of a person, if the person has in a circle the Holy Communion, Dracula cannot enter inside of the circle. So the person inside of the circle is free of Dracula. And yeah, it's pretty good to see that in our real life, Eucharist is our first defense against the evil.
Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And also something really important to notice is that what these stories do, they make visible what is invisible. So this author is trying to portray a spiritual reality. They fight against evil. And we also see it in the Gospels where the demons come and they are attacking a person, and Jesus comes and he expels them. We see that fight, like evil against good, right? And so many different occasions, like Magdalene, she had 7 demons, or when Christ went to the town and he sent the demons into the pigs, right? And we can see that fight against the evil that is portrayed, that is seen, is a spiritual battle. And then how do we fight that in our real life? Well, with faith and with the sacraments, essentially. Because when we receive a Holy Communion, when we're close to God, we're close to Christ, we're able to fight all of them. And he also wants to use us to expel the evil in the world, right? So that's really interesting. And also, something that you were mentioning about the blood, sucking the blood out of people. I think there's a really deep symbolism there, because blood in the ancient times was considered to be the soul of the person, where the soul was in the blood. Because without blood, there's no life. I mean, the body that can't move doesn't work, right? So it's also interesting to see this, the symbolism that is portrayed, right? Because he could have been something else, but no, he chose a really specific evil that sucks the blood out of the persons, right? Yeah. So what other themes could you also see in this book?
So as you know, Bram Stoker, he was Catholic, and you can see that you can see a lot of Christian meanings in the book. And another special meaning that I can see in the book is the necessity of sincerity in the book. What happened at the end of the book? So all the people knows that Dracula is in London, and Dracula is taking persons, but they are afraid. So they never say to another person that I believe in Dracula is here. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the book, they share his knowledge about Dracula. Okay, no, yeah, I know that Dracula is here because I saw him in the street. No, I know because he is taking the blood of my child. So all this information combined has the answer, the solution of the problem of Dracula. Mm-hmm. So I can see, for example, now in our real life, the necessity of the confession. Mm-hmm. So if you are against the evil and you need to go against the evil, you need to go to confession. Yes. It's the first step of this war against the evil.
Yes, that's so true. And that is something that I also noticed, because when this evil comes, it's like it's trying to play on the fears of the people, because that's what evil does. it creates fear in the people, and it doesn't want the people to speak, to talk about it. And a lot of times, the answer to fighting against this evil is precisely looking for help. And to do that, you have to speak. You have to say what you see and what troubles you. And this, as you said, in the confession, but also psychologically, regarding depression or anxiety, because how many battles are people fighting out there and they don't say anything about it because they think they can handle it themselves or whatever reason, right? But the thing is that when you speak about it, when you ask for help, then something can be done because you can be someone can help you. And a lot of times it's a trouble that you can't fight against yourself, right?
Yeah.
You have to ask for help. And then when you work with others, then you can get to a solution, right? But then also, Brother Camilo, you mentioned something when we were preparing the talk about migration. Do you see that topic here?
Yeah. So, for example, as you know, when people for another region, another country, are going to, for example, a better country, a best country to live, you can see the people like Dracula. Who is Dracula? Dracula is not for England. Dracula is from another country. And he came to England. And he is taking blood of the people of the country. So it's common to see the immigrants, like people who is taking things of all my country, my culture, my food, all of things. So it's pretty common, and you can see if you are reading the book of Dracula, you can see that in the book. You can see, Dracula is an immigrant, and he is taking the blood of the people, the culture of the people. He's changing the culture of the people. You can see a lot of information about immigrants in the book.
Right. And then also, like when you think about migration, a lot of times these people, they're moving to another country because they're looking for a better life. Because a lot of times in their country, the life is really bad because of the government or because of a scarcity, right? So it's really interesting to see that this novel talks about a lot of themes, right? That you can analyze, that you can go deep, but most importantly, that it shows this visible reality, right? That it makes reality. They fight against evil, and that is something that if we speak about it, we can get the help that we need to fight against the evil in our life and in the world. Well, thank you, Bro Camilo. This was a great episode. Thank you so much for speaking to us about this great book. And stay tuned for more episodes. God bless.